What's going on? Welcome back to Roasted Beans and Tires, and today we're here with another F-150 LED product, and it's one of my personal favorites. Today we're going to be installing the 42-inch curved CREE LED bumper bar for my 2025 F-150 Raptor. When you order this, you have two options. You can either get the Hyper Optic Yellow or the pure diamond white. We chose to go with the Hyper Optic Yellow to match my hood lights and my grille lights, as well as my vent lights. It also comes with custom amber LED backing lights that's powered anytime your grille lights are on, just like the rear CREE lights and vent lights that I have on my truck today. It's a super aggressive look. I love it. Honestly, it gives the whole truck a different feel. Take a look, watch the video. Super easy to install. Some things we'll go through that I think were amazing, and some things that that are a little bit of a challenge, but honestly, awesome install. Took us about an hour, and now that we know how to do it, we could do it probably half as fast this time. So take a look. F-150 LEDs, roasted beans and tires. Let's go. All right, so what do we have in the box today? Today we have our screws and the T-taps. We have zip ties. Good job. They've been putting zip ties in there for us. That's great. And we have all of our different wiring stuff, all of our harnesses. More wiring harnesses. Different options if you want to just connect it and have it turn on and off, which we won't use, but good to have all those different options if you want them. And then we have the light bar itself, as you can see right here. Again, as you can see, I went with the Hyper Optic Yellow, and these different wiring harnesses, they provide the ones in case you're not going to use auxiliary switches, but we will use auxiliary switches. But in case you don't have a Raptor, they do provide you with a different option. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to mount the brackets onto the light bar itself. You're going to want to hand tighten them, and they do provide the nuts and bolts. And you're going to want to put your screw and your locker and your washer on the bolts. And then you're going to want to just hand tighten them onto the light bar itself. One thing we will say is make sure that you put the bracket all the way forward because just the way it lines up with the bumper, it works best that way. They do provide an Allen wrench, so make sure you use the Allen wrench. Do it about 80% because you do want them to be able to move a little bit while you're getting them lined up. But again, you're going to want them all the way to the front. As you can see here, we have it slid back as far as possible so that it's easier to mount when you get it on the truck itself. Next, you're going to want to get a Sharpie, and you're going to want to line your light bar up. Make sure the middle of the light is in the middle of the truck. There's little dots in the middle of the lights, and you can tell where it needs to go. But just take a step back and look at it. The best way for us to line it up was I lined it up with the front camera because that's right in the middle of the grill, right between the O and the R. But make sure you use a Sharpie because you're going to need to drill some holes this next time, and make sure you can see the Sharpie. So maybe not black like we got, but we were still able to make it work. Next, you're going to want to pop off the covers on the front of your truck, because you're going to need to be able to access underneath your bumper so that you can drill and then you can mount the bar itself. It's not hard. Obviously, just got to use a tool to get in there and get it. F-150 LED does have those available if you want to buy one. Next, you're going to get a 5/16 drill bit. Be careful because it does get really close to your paint, so go very slow. Obviously, go slow so that you don't go off course of where you've marked your spot, but go through, drill the 5/16 drill bit right through your bumper there, and you will then have a spot to just reach underneath in between those vents, and you will put your screws right in. Once you get both sides done, you're going to want to take the brackets off your light bar and just mount the brackets themselves. And you will just reach underneath the vents, and you will go with a lock nut and a washer, and you will tighten them. Don't go too tight, because once you get your light bar on, you're obviously going to need to adjust it a little bit to center it. So as you can see, we just have it set in the middle, but you will adjust that once you get your light bar back on. We found the left side to be pretty easy. There was nothing there obstructing your angle into underneath the bumper. But on the right side of my truck, there's a sensor there. And obviously we're two bigger guys, so we have bigger hands. So we ended up having to use one of the Ryobi flexible shaft bit holders, which wasn't hard, but just be prepared that if you do have bigger hands, at least with my truck, with where that sensor was, it was tough to get in, but we did get it. Once you finish that, you're all set to put your light bar back on your brackets. Make sure you just line it up straight. So this is where you didn't want to tighten it down all the way. You can move it back and forth to make sure you are straight on your bumper. And then once you get the brackets tight, you're going to want to get your bar set up so that it's facing upwards or downwards or however you want it. Obviously, you wanted ours facing straight out. So just make sure you get it all set up and use the Allen wrench provided to tighten it. Once you have the light bar secured, you're going to want to take the connector and run it up through your grill, right up through and into your hood. As you can see, just run it in and then put it through one more time, and it'll go right through. There's several spots you can put it through, so. Next, we're going to do the wiring portion. You're going to want to get your ground, and you're going to want to use a 10 millimeter socket, and you're going to take your ground wire and put it right on top, and then put the nut back on. We already have some F-150 LED products on there, so we're just putting them right on top. A 10 millimeter socket will take your ground off, and then you'll need an 11 millimeter socket to take off your positive. So for us, we're going to be using our auxiliary switches. And in my Raptor, my auxiliary switches are right next to my battery. As you can see on there, we already have something hooked up there. That is from the CREE lights, hood lights. But we are going to hook these up to our auxiliary 3 switch. And you can look at the diagrams that Ford provides. And the 3 switch is the yellow wire. Once you find the switch you want to use or the wire you want to use, you are then going to use the T connectors. You're going to put your red wire into one side of the connector, and then you are going to use some needle nose pliers and you're going to close it. And then you are going to put the other end onto your yellow wire. For me, it was the yellow wire, and you are going to close it. And that is going to create the connection for your auxiliary 3 switch. Once you've connected to your aux switch, you're then just going to want to connect all your wires. You take the white wire that has the blue cord in it, and you connect it to the wire you used for your auxiliary switch, and that is going to create the connection. After that, you're going to take the tri-connector from the light bar and connect it to the tri-connector for your wiring harness, and now you will have power. And when you turn your aux 3 on, or whatever aux switch you turn on, you will have power. Next, you're going to take your last wiring connection and you're going to connect it to the red wire, and that is going to give you your power for your backlight. Using another one of the provided T connectors, you're going to plug the red wire into one end and use it to secure it. And then you are going to take the other end and put it on the white cable. It's right behind your grill on the Ford F-150 Raptor 2025. For me, it's a white wire. We actually already have our vent lights plugged into that, so it's easy for us to find. But you're going to take the end of your T connector and you're going to connect it to that white wire. And now every time your grill lights turn on, so will the amber backlights for the light bar. Once you finish that connection, you're all done. The next thing you're going to want to do is they do provide zip ties. Go through and zip tie all the cable. I will tell you, this is one of the downfalls. There is a ton of wire, and we had to get it all together, zip tie it together, and hide it in the truck. I guess at the end of the day, you'd rather have more than less, but there is a ton of wires, so you're going to have to make sure you do that and zip tie it together and go and hide it somewhere in the bay of your truck, which we did just fine. Once you get that done, you're all finished. Again, about a 35 to 45 minute project. Not bad, pretty easy, and you're ready to roll.